Hey there guys, this video is suggested by Ethan, one of my Discord group members, and it is the best way to suggest future videos, so let's get on with it. Oliver & Company is one of the black horses of the Disney films. Given that it came out just before the famous Disney Renaissance period, it received mixed reviews at the time, and compared to the next 6 movies, it very much got lost outside the spotlight. If you're interested, I actually have an entire video dedicated to the film, which was my childhood movie growing up. But the reason for this video is talking about the film's main antagonist, Sykes. Oliver & Company is loosely based on the Charles Dickens novel, Oliver Twist. And like a lot of the adaptations, it changes things to better suit its need of being a Disney musical, setting itself in New York instead of London to reflect the Wall Street and rise of stockbrokers during the 1980s. While all the characters have been updated and changed slightly, I want to talk about Sykes. Sykes is a character that really stood out as a main antagonist, given that he reflects the time period he is in. In the original book, Sykes is a burglar and not a very nice one. He's a little slow-witted, but terrifying at the same time. His brutality is much more on the nose and in your face, which, as someone who was born and raised in the UK, this style is very prominent here.
Pull your tongue out of my arsehole, Gary.
He's a bully who's very scared and won't stop at anything to get what he wants. In Oliver & Company, the switch to New York gives him a much more classic Hollywood look. He's no longer a down-in-the-dumps low-class criminal, he's a loan shark with a fancy car, chunky cigars, built like a brick house, and feels a little bit more older than his book counterpart. What makes Sykes stand out as a villain is his sense of realism, given the reflection of the time period he is in. Compared to other great Disney villains, they have this grandiose vibe about them, usually heightening them with a villain song, or just being funny in some way. Say what you want about great Disney villains like Scar and Jafar, they are entertaining and funny in their own way.
Go on.
Sykes, on the other hand, is way more grounded. Not containing a villain song, it's his genuine disdain for the characters that he interacts with that makes him so frightening. His first interaction with Fagin is brutal, tossing his gross smoke ash on his feet, blowing smoke in his face, and doing all this with such a calm demeanor shows how much in control he is in. He isn't just beating up a poor homeless man, he's humiliating him, and he's keeping him under his thumb. As I mentioned, he's someone who feels grounded because these type of people, they live in our everyday lives. Not only as a vicious loan shark, but as an intimidating bully. The way he talks isn't just about being evil and doing bad for the sake of being bad. Sykes is someone who has a clear disdain for someone like Fagin. He moves slow, he talks slow, and when violent acts happen, he isn't doing it out of an act of sadism or enjoyment. He's doing it out of boredom. This is business for him, it's what he does every day, and he's good at it. There is of course the lack of villain song that makes him stand out. And to be fair, the idea of Sykes doing a large musical number would really stand out, and not in a good way. But a lot of great Disney villains come with a villain song, and to be fair, it's usually kind of what makes a good villain, especially in a Disney movie. But whereas some Disney villains don't get to sing like they could, Sykes is a character that really shouldn't sing, because it really works for his character. The entire soundtrack of Oliver & Company is very up-tempo, and it fits the time it came out. If Sykes did have a musical number, it would probably sound something like this. But Sykes not having a musical number really gives him a much more threatening presence. He's not here to entertain, he's here to terrify you. Like a lot of great villains, we usually see their side of the story, albeit some sick and twisted way. We don't really see much of Sykes' backstory, why he does the things he does. He is introduced to the story to further the plot, but does so in such an intimidating way. We only get glimpses into the way his operations work, with small amounts like the phone call he has before Fagin meets with him.
What do you read? You start with the knuckles.
Ah, Fagin, do come in. I'll be right with you.
This really lets the audience use their imagination to fill in the gaps, and this idea of making him really stand out as a Disney villain. This style of storytelling in Disney villains is rare. Sykes is motivated by money and greed, and that's kind of it. And yet there's something very classically charismatic about him. He is a classic New York City mobster, and Robert Loggia gives a wonderful charismatic performance.
So, Fagin, did we bring something green and wrinkly to make you happy?
It's strange how little we know about Sykes, and yet it somehow adds to his character. But what's the difference between, say, Sykes and a less beloved Disney villain like, say, Hans from Frozen? On paper, Hans is a better villain. He has more involvement with the overall plot, and even though his twist villain plot by the end is kinda jarring, it kinda makes sense. Don't get me wrong, Hans is not a good villain. But even though we have more time with Hans compared to Sykes, with Sykes we only have his introduction and then his final scene by the third act. Unlike Hans, Sykes lingers over the characters and the audience by being an ongoing threat. Now, sure, while Hans does have the advantage given that he's a poorly done twist villain, he has infinitely more screen time than Sykes. Sykes introduces himself as the threat easily and reminds Fagin of what the consequences are should he fail. This adds to the overall mystery surrounding him. Fagin is given 3 days, and it's always curious to think about what Sykes gets up to in his spare time. I do think it's funny that we get to see his passion for models. He threatens people with death and then goes back to some crude small model building. I really love it. He literally sounds like every unstable uncle at a Christmas party.
It's the season to be jolly.
I don't think Sykes is the best villain, nor is he the worst, but he stands out incredibly well. Don't get me wrong, we all love the twisted and evil Scar, or the charismatic and stylish Dr. Facilier, but Sykes stands out incredibly well as a villain. Everything about him isn't just stereotypical, despite him essentially being just a standard mob boss. He isn't as flamboyant as Ursula, or as dark as mature as Frollo. But for me, Sykes stands out as one of the most unique villains in Disney history. So thank you for joining me in this video. Let me know in the comment section what you think of Sykes as a character. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Special shout out to my Discord member Ethan. Thank you so much for suggesting this video, which by the way, join the Discord group guys. It's pretty awesome. We get to talk about all the animated movies coming out and old. You can share your artwork. We can all get together and talk about animated movies that we love and enjoy, and it's just pretty darn awesome. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at EdSwindlehurst, and as always guys, I will see you all in the next one.